Okay, people, today let's take a quick look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Deadpool Legacy Collection Colossus, or Marvel's Colossus. I'm sure it hasn't been that long since I've gotten a movie top figure, but it feels like it's been a while. So when I saw this pop up in stock on GameStop, I thought, well, okay, the first thing I thought was, ooh, I've got a $5 coupon to use. But then my immediate second thought was, oh, I get to add to the Deadpool movie shelf. Looking at the package, we've had a couple of releases in this Deadpool Legacy Collection box, but I didn't get those. This is my first. There's some sleek black, there's a deep red background, there's the Deadpool logo, Legacy Collection. Marvel's Colossus. Warning, choking hazards, small parts. Don't put the big tin man down your throat hole. On the side, in case you forgot who you bought, there's Marvel's Colossus again. Down there is a Deadpool logo. In between is a picture of Colossus. Also need to get some WD-40 on my tripod mount. On the back, there's that picture again with a little bio of Colossus in tiny little font. Let me get a close-up of that in case you're interested. The other characters in this wave is Deadpool, Wolverine, and Headpool that comes with a Logan accessory. All kinds of legalese. On the side, they're milking that picture, and then of course Marvel's Colossus again. Marvel Legends! On the top, a sleek Deadpool logo. On bottom, more legalese, barcode. Let's get this open, see what's going on. You can pull out the backdrop and use it as a background for pictures if you want to, but am I missing something? Did I forget? Is this the shipyards? Is this a warehouse? Go ahead and destroy me in the comments. Hey, dumbass, that's this. Also sliding the tray out of the package, I didn't realize how bent the legs are. They were hidden behind the graphic, and yeah, this figure's gonna be bigger than I thought it was going to be. In fact, let's tackle that first. This is a huge figure. Weight comes up to about mid-shoulder, making Colossus a bit larger than he was portrayed in the movie. It's not going to bug me standing side by side in a display like this, but once you put them like this and then throw in a movie still, then yeah, you realize that Colossus is comically large. It's that and a few other things that make me think that this may be an older sculpt. One, this is Colossus from the first Deadpool movie. The biggest giveaway are the baggy pants going down to these boots with the zipper on the front and then the buckles on the side. In Deadpool 2, he had more superhero type pants that went all the way down to the ankle with some padding at the shins and the knees and some extra seam lines. The other biggie is the rectangle buckle. That's Deadpool 1. In 2, he had a circle buckle. And then to a lesser extent, the top in Deadpool 2 had more contrast. There were lighter grays around here and then coming up from the bottom. But as a Deadpool 2016 Colossus, this completely works. Design-wise, and that gets us most of the way there, but proportionally, I feel like the legs are too big. If the legs were a little smaller and then the boots toned down a bit, that would make the torso seem bigger. That would fit what we see in the movie better. But again, it's the details that get us most of the way there. It's still Colossus, and it still looks great standing with the rest of the crew. There's those seam lines in the shirt coming down and then forming almost, I keep looking at this as kind of a Superman shield shape. And then coming down into the X logo with the red just on the top parts of the X. Then the red seams running down. And the red's even around here on the back with some texture, and then the seams running up here too. Got some back pockets going on, the side pockets. There's another set of pockets below that because you can always use more pockets. There's a zipper on the front of the boot with buckles on the side. Unfortunately, they're not painted silver. That would have been an awesome little detail there. Same thing goes for this buckle on the strap that goes over the foot itself. That would have been sweet silver. Maybe the silver budget was used on the arms, the neck, and the head. There, it's undeniably Colossus. The striations coming from the top of the shoulder down to the knuckles, getting closer and closer together. There's also some muscle definition coming down and around, giving him some strength. And then there's that same detail up at the neck, and there's where you start noticing that there is paint down in the grooves. It's not all solid lines. It's meant more as a shadow or a shading technique. And a bunch of them are clean, but then there's also some that go out of the line, that get out onto the plastic, kind of miss where they were supposed to be. It's not noticeable at a distance, which is why it took me a little bit to figure out, oh wait, that's not going across in the right spot. But for the most part, it's close, and it does what it needs to do. It accentuates those grooves, that look for Colossus against the shiny plastic. And speaking of that, when I saw the promotional images, I didn't think it was going to be this shiny, but in hand, in the studio lights, yeah, there's a lot of reflection going on. It is brighter than we saw in the movie, but again, outside of these lights, let's turn this off and turn this off and turn this off. It does darken down a bit in standard lighting, in a display, on a shelf, in a playroom. And then, of course, there's Colossus's face. Putting that side by side with a still from the movie, there's definitely a great resemblance. But then there's also something comic booked about it. Maybe the hair sticks out a little bit more, or higher, or there's something. You get under there, there's a hinge. And that makes me feel like this sculpt may have been around for a little bit because they've been doing a lot of that dumbbell joint at the top. And I know they're still using the ab crunch with the waist swivel, but there's that, and there's also the lack of some crunch. This feels a little dated, but then we get up to the shoulders. There, it's not a butterfly joint, it's a dumbbell joint, so you get some shift up, some shift down, some shift forward, some shift back, diagonal. Guess what? Diagonal, diagonal, diagonal. And then there's a cap right there to keep the gap closed. If they had put a butterfly joint in here, it would have cut across the shirt part and would have looked oddball. The arms coming down to a neutral position. Yeah, because the shoulder swings down, you can bring it down and then shift it back up, and it's right against the body. Going over articulation, like I showed, there's a hinge at the top of the neck with a ball going into the skull. That allows Colossus to look up, bury his chin. Not a lot of tilt, but he can look left and right. Like we talked about a dumbbell coming out to the shoulder, there's some shift up, shift down, forward, back, diagonal, diagonal, diagonal. You can rotate the arm around, and then the shoulder hinge goes up to there. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow goes all the way up. Swivel at the wrist with a hinge in and out. Ab crunch doesn't really do a lot of crunching. Does a lot of arcing, and then the cut at the waist swivels. Ball going out to the hip, kicks forward, kicks back a little, out. Not terrible for a big guy. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee, again, look at that. Swivel at the boot. Ankles were tight as hell out of the package. It took a few times for it to go back this far and forward this far, and then a front-facing pin for rocker. Out of the package, Colossus comes with 2 fists, then there's 2 open hands. Easy enough to just pop out and then throw that in. And that's to hold this little Xavier School book. Mutatis mutandis. Mutatis mutandis? And there are rules written on the inside. Rule 1, no killing anyone ever. And then rule 2 is label everything in the refrigerator. Unfortunately, I have a little smudge right there going up. That sucks. And the right hand was essentially made to hold this. But it also works perfectly fine as a relaxed hand. Besides the head that came in the package that's kind of neutral looking, there's also this angry going into battle head. And I've showed this a couple times. That pops off, that pops on, and grrr. And I love that he's so limber for such a big guy. Colossus stands at about 7 3/4 inches. He's listed as 6'8" in the movie, so this is about an inch tall. Now, we already established that this Colossus is from the first Deadpool movie. Unfortunately, the rest of the Marvel Legends figures are from Deadpool 2. But you know what? That's not going to stop me from displaying them all together because they still work. I'm good with it. The Bandai SH Figuarts Deadpool is even shorter than the Marvel Legends, so this is what you get if you use that. And then for giggles, here's the comic book Marvel Select Colossus and the Marvel Legends Colossus. Crazy enough, the movie Colossus is taller than comic book Colossus. So at the end of the day, it is far from perfect, but I still like it. Yeah, I got really nitpicky during this review, but only because the movie has been out for 8 years. I've seen it quite a few times. I've seen pictures. I can grab stills, put it right next to the figure, and do side-by-side comparisons. And when you do that, it is not perfect whatsoever. But if you take the figure, pose it around, stick it next to the rest, put it in a display, it's perfectly fine as Colossus. Now, that may be me making excuses, justifying my purchase, I guess, but at the same time, I've wanted Colossus for a while. As is, well, okay, I was about to say as is, this will do me on the Deadpool shelf, but I'm going to put it on the customizing table, do a little Playday action, paint the buckles, throw in some silver, some grittiness, some dirtiness here and there, and then I'll be happy with it to go right in the display. So it's up to you. If the height is too much, the thickness, the inaccuracy, the paint smudging on the grooves is too much, then pass on by. Hope for a future version. But me, for the most part, I'm a make lemonade out of lemons guy. And not that this is a lemon. Again, it's a good figure. It just has inaccuracies to what it's meant to be. It's almost like a comic book adaptation of the hit Hollywood movie, Deadpool, 2016. There you go. Take all this information, process it, do as you will.